Hello, everybody. How we doing today? Give me a big, big, big thumbs up if you can hear me loud and clear. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, happy Friday. Happy Friday in the city of Chicago. Oh my God, one of my favorite cities. I ate my way through Chicago on my most recent trip. That was my most recent business trip. I ate my way through your city. Amazing. So, hello, everybody. Okay, fantastic. So, couple things that I just want to remind everyone about. Remember, whether you're live on recording, please hit that like button. It really does help us out over here at the Prep Agent team. And it's something that, again, we appreciate it. So that's why truly, truly, truly make sure you hit that like button. Also, what I want to do is I want to remind everybody, if you're watching this before the 21st of January 2023, we have some webinars coming up. Listen to me, I can't even click on the right one. So we have some crash courses. So tomorrow we have a Florida state specific. I know that you always ask for state specific stuff, and we try to put as much out there as possible, but there's just not a demand for every single state. So when we can, we always like to put the crash courses up there. But if it's something that you have any questions, you want to actually register for any of those right now, you still can for the 21st for tomorrow. And also, Candace will be doing one on appraisals and valuations, okay, the following week. So, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the first questions. We'll just jump right into it, okay? So, those of you who are here with me live, like I said, feel free to type anything into the chat. I do have my eyeballs on the chat. So, the first one says, a written summary of the title documents. Is that abstract of title, chain of title, variance, or deed? Abstract of title, chain of title, variance, or deed. Now, something else that I want to remind everyone about, because you might know about this, you might not. Whenever you see a word highlighted in yellow when you're taking a prep agent exam, remember that you could actually hover over it, left click, and it gives you a hint or a tip as to what that is. So, is that because it's super important to the question being asked? Not necessarily. Sometimes it is. What that is there to do is to aid you, in, hey, I don't know what that word is, or that was a word that I really was confused on. That's a situation where we kind of help you along, because the whole entire purpose of this is so that you could get your study, basically the information from the question. We want you to be able to get this so that you could apply that to any question about the abstract of title. So the abstract of title is a summary of title documents, okay? Is a summary of title documents. And then let me ask you this. What is the chain of title? Okay, and I see a couple of you asking for other state-specific courses. What I will tell you is this: it all has to do with demand and also our bandwidth as far as instructors are concerned. We do not have state-specific crash courses for every state. It's just impossible right now, and I say that all the time. What I will tell you, though, is this: there are a lot of local schools and local brokerages that do offer some great, supplemental state-specific material. So I always, always, always recommend checking that out as well if that's something that, you have questions on. So the chain of title is a complete history of all the past owners. Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. It is a complete history of all the past owners. So basically, it will show you basically who has owned the property going back to the beginning of time. Okay. When is the next national crash course? I don't think that's on the schedule just yet, but there might be a February or March one. So you can check that out. So let's take a look at this one. The original price of a property used to calculate capital gains, is that the impound price, the market price, the shelter cost, can't even talk, or the unadjusted cost basis? What say you in the chat? What say you? So this one, and I'll tell you this one's a real simple, easy as a dimple one. This is going to be the unadjusted cost basis. So let me ask this in the chat. What is capital gains? What are capital gains? What is that? When we're talking about capital gains, what are we referring to? And I see a bunch of regulars here. Love seeing all the regulars. Love seeing people come back in. Okay. So what say you on the capital gains? So basically that's from profits, basically, selling capital assets. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Because we have capital gains not only in real estate, right? But you have that when you're selling, any kind of securities, like stocks, okay? And my capital gains taxes, okay? So that is a situation there. Stocks, bonds, real estate. Yep. I'm getting my taxes because Mrs. Stu for Christmas wanted to get a new setting for her engagement ring, so I had to sell some stocks before before I was able to purchase that. Yeah, she wanted a new setting, so I said yes, ma'am, whatever she wanted. So let's take a look at this one. A loan or mortgage lien, which is junior to an existing mortgage or trust deed on a property. Secondary financing, primary financing, final financing, or creative financing. What say you? Janet said, "Don't sell your stocks now." Yeah, it's never a good time to sell. I always say that I sell when I need it. That's it. That's it. So this one is saying a loan or a lien which is junior to an existing one. So this is going to be some sort of secondary financing. If it's junior to it, it means... So let me ask you this. I think that I want to discuss that. What does it mean when I say that, hey, that lien is junior to it? It's junior to it. What does that mean? Like, what does that phrasing mean? What do you say in the chat? I love it. I love the names in the chat sometimes. I love Bentley the Yorkshire Terrier. I'm actually a big fan of Yorkies. Yorkies are one of my favorite breeds. So, what say you? What does it mean when a lien is junior? So, what that means is this. It means that there is a lien ahead of it. That means that if you were to sell the property, okay? If you were to sell the property, okay, or were to be sold at foreclosure, basically, the order in which the liens are, so basically if there's a primary lien and then there's a secondary one, the secondary one would be paid second, okay? Basically, think of the priority of liens as a line to get paid from the proceeds of the sale, okay? That's really what it is. And anything that is junior to an existing loan would be paid second after that initial loan or lien was paid off. Now, let me ask this question. What is, excuse me, what is the difference between a general lien and a specific lien? What is the difference between a general lien and a specific lien? What is the difference there? So a general lien is going to be a situation where it's going to go on everything that someone owns, right? General lien is going to go on everything that someone owns. A specific lien is going to go on a specific property, right? So can you give me an example of a specific lien and an example of a general lien? What is an example of a specific lien and what is an example of a general lien? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point this out as well because a lot of you, so I know you're avid members of the Stu Crew. You come into a lot of my webinars. Like I said, I see a lot of the same faces. I love it. What I'm going to ask you, what I'm going to point out is if you've noticed, a lot of my definitions are short, sweet, simple, to the point. Okay? The more simple your definition is, the better it's going to be. Okay? That's 100% the truth. Okay? It's better if your definitions are more concise. Keep it simple, keep it concise. I wonder who says that. So, specific tax, a specific lien would be real estate property taxes. General lien could be income taxes. Yeah, absolutely. Or a judgment, things like that. Perfect. Excellent, excellent. So, any questions, concerns, burning desires on any of that? No? Yes? No? Maybe so? All right, I love that. So all of you got some pretty good answers in there. Let's keep it moving and grooving. Let's take a look at this next one. Okay. An appraisal term stating that the general uniformity of structures in an area produces the highest value. Principle of highest and best use, principle of conformity, principle of stagnation, or principle of contribution. This is a good one. I love my appraisal stuff. And remember, if you're having trouble with the appraisal stuff, Candace is doing the appraisal and valuations crash course. I think that's going to be fantastic. I actually, you might see Stu sneak in on that one. I want to see what she does because I think that's going to be a great one. So what say you on this one? What say you? Oh man, we're really kind of bouncing all over the place on this one. It's a lot of you are saying it's kind of between A is in apple crumbly pie and B is in brownie batter. So here's what we're going to talk about. The question is saying the general uniformity of structures. Uniformity means that things are uniform. They are similar. They are conforming. Okay? They are conforming. Now, here's the thing. Listen to what I'm about to say to you. So the principle of highest and best use. Let me ask this question. Ready? What is the principle of highest and best use? Does anyone know what that is? Because what I want to do is I want to kind of differentiate between A and B. I want to give you a little more space between that. I want to clear some things up. So, what is the principle of highest and best use? Because some people were confused on that one. Okay. So here's the thing. The principle of highest and best use, okay, is going to be a situation where basically they examine, okay, and they, let me clarify who I mean by they. This is something that an appraiser will consider, okay? This is something an appraiser will consider where they will examine what the highest and best use of the property is, and they will determine that, and they will take that into consideration in their appraisal. So what do I mean by that? What does all that mean, and how does that differ from conformity? Okay? I'll explain and I'll give you some examples. So if I'm appraising, I'll give you my favorite example, which is if I'm appraising the New York City Public Library, okay? If I am appraising the New York City Public Library, as an appraiser, I would say highest and best use for this particular property is knock it down, build a skyscraper, let Lady Gaga buy some penthouses. Okay? That's the highest and best use for that property. Now, does that mean that they're going to knock it down and build a skyscraper? No. That just, it gives an explanation as to why is that more valuable, or why is the value coming in at this? Because you have to understand, an appraisal is a estimate of value. So here's the thing. If I was an alien and I knew nothing about anything, right? I didn't know what New York City was. I didn't know what Omaha, Nebraska was. And I'm reading these two appraisal reports, and I'm like, well, that's a public library, and that's a public library, and they're just in different cities. Why is that value so much higher? And in there, the appraiser says, hey, the highest and best use for this property is that you could build a skyscraper, which would be vastly more valuable than the Omaha, Nebraska, because the highest and best use for that one, the public library in Omaha, Nebraska, might be a public library. There might not be a higher and better use. Okay? There might not be a higher and better use. Right? So that is the principle of highest and best use. So are there questions on that? Because I know that these always usually confuse people. Is that a good example as to what it is, and why does an appraiser include it in their appraisal? Right? Why does an appraiser include it in their appraisal? Right? Perfect, perfect, excellent. Now, talking about the principle of conformity, here's the thing. When we say that when things are uniform, it creates higher value, okay? Yes, so think about this, okay? And I'll actually give you an example, just because here's the thing, too. These principles, of course, we are applying them to real estate, primarily, but you can apply these to anything, okay? So when I go to, let's say, a store that has a lot of different things in it, let's just say I go to Macy's, right? I go to Macy's. What happens is they're going to have a lot of everything, a lot of different things. Macy's doesn't necessarily have conformity, right? Because they don't specialize in any one thing. So what happens is you could find some deals occasionally in there. You could find some things that might not have as high a value, okay? So let's say I went into the kitchen section in Macy's. They're going to have a lot of different things. Not everything's going to conform. So I'm going to be able to find something like a cast iron, a cast iron pan that is going to be maybe less expensive, right? Now, let's say what I did the other day. I went to Le Creuset, where all they do is sell Dutch ovens and cast iron skillets. Okay? All they sell is cast iron skillets and Dutch ovens and things like that. Highly, highly conforming. Much higher value. And people go in there and pay that because everything is similar. Think of it as specializing. When homes in an area are all similar, you're going to see the highest value of the homes, as opposed to if everything is an amalgamation and all different. Okay? Cadillac, congrats. Love it. Love seeing people. I always love seeing when people come in. Okay? And remember, when you're ready to, listen to me. Can't even get words out today. I'm going to be having a lot of new agent coaching, trainings, things like that in the coming months. So head on over, follow me at Real Estate Exam Pro, because on Instagram, because I'll post a lot of my stuff on Instagram. So Cadillac, if you wanted to get some tips and tricks on how to get your business started, like I said, I'm going to be posting some of that stuff there shortly, because I need to get out there and start doing more of that, because I do it kind of secretively. Now I have to do it publicly. I want to help all of you. So let's take a look at this one. An unreasonable delay by a party making a claim or bringing an action so that the rights of said party are waived is a waiver, reversion, plottage, or latches. What say you on this? And Jillian said, I need this. Just upgraded. Yeah, let me tell you something. Listen to what I'm going to say right now. I'm going to do a shameless plug for the webinars. There's a reason why Joe put this in the highest package. I will tell you this, more times than not, I find that there is a difference from people who are watching these regularly, whether it be on recording or live. I always say that if you are listening to me on recording, so I'm speaking to all you, okay, they're listening to us later on, if you can come listen with us live, it is a totally different experience. You get to chat. You see I interact with everybody. I have my eyeballs on that. It's a different experience. I get that life gets in the way, though. So let's take a look. A lot of you are saying latches, and it is latches. So here's something else that I'm going to say to you, okay, that I want to kind of hit home with, because some of you might say, man, I don't know how to say it. Stu said that it was latches, but I called it lachiches or whatever. I don't care how you pronounce it. Bottom line is this. When you come across a word, and you're going to come across plenty of them that you're not able to pronounce, that you're not able to do any kind of pronunciation of it correctly, okay? What I will tell you is this. Just pronounce it however you're going to pronounce it in your head and keep moving. It doesn't matter. You're not getting quizzed on how you pronounce these things, okay? So don't get caught up on that, because a lot of times people will read a sentence and instead of going right through and just pronouncing it however they pronounce it, they get caught up and start rereading, okay, latches. So someone asked me, so Bentley the Yorkie said, how do you remember latches? I remember latches is late, so it's an unreasonable delay. Like, that's just, I, I sometimes associate, listen, I always say that it's best if you could come up with a short definition, like an actual sentence, but sometimes I just have like one word and it just kind of triggers something for me. So it's not an inappropriate way to remember things, but you don't want to just be doing that, okay? Like a one sentence definition is the best, but if you need like a quick shortcut, that's going to be the situation there. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the next question. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it grooving. Okay. An estate for any fixed period of time. An estate at will, a life estate, defeasible estate, estate for years. Someone asked me how many questions we've gone through. I don't, listen, because of the way my webinars are, you're getting a lot of my thoughts in between. You're getting my study tips. You're getting a lot of that stuff. So guess what? If you're watching a Stu webinar, this is exactly how I do it. Because, I mean, look, we could Gatling gun and go through these, but I think that really the value in going through these live with an instructor is in the things that you can't get out of doing this for yourself, you know, that you can't get out of doing it for yourself. So yeah, that's also the thing. And like I said, that's why I say, come into the chat, ask questions, you know. An estate for a fixed period of time, a lot of you are going to say estate for years. Yeah, so an estate for years is a lease, okay? A lease with a defined end date. We know when you're leaving, okay? We know when you're leaving. Lorena, obviously I have to, give you a high five virtually. You're my favorite prep agent teacher. Thank you. I'm my favorite too. So let me ask this. What is a life estate? Okay. What is a life estate? What is a life estate? What is that? Yeah, and you know what? Ellen said that, warning so much from the in-between stuff. Yeah, and because I know a lot of you are taking these classes just online and no instructor. So I'm trying to kind of give you, like when I teach an in-person class, like there's a lot of banter back and forth about tips, tricks, things that you should be doing, things you should watch out for. What are my thoughts? You don't get that when you're just doing an online course. So guess what? When you come here live with us in Prep Agent, I think that's an important part for us to kind of fill in the gaps on. So going back to a life estate, excuse me, that is ownership based on someone's life. Ownership based on someone's life. Yeah. So when you have ownership based on the life of someone or something, that is going to be a life estate. Now, you could have the life estate pour autre vie, which is based on the life of another. Okay. All different things with a life estate, but it's ownership. And that's why I want to say this. Okay. There's some questions in there like, can you sell a life estate? Yes, you can, because it's ownership. Like, that's the key to understanding it. That's why it falls under freehold estates. Okay? And someone said up top, Art said, Tessin Week, this is our year, people. Yeah, oh, man, I'm feeling it that this is our year. I just got asked, actually, maybe like a day or two ago, to go speak at a large real estate conference. Like, I think it's going to be like 8,000 people I'm going to be speaking in front of. It's going to be fun. Yeah. A lot of fun coming up this year. It's definitely going to be our year. So life estate we went over. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it grooving. Let's get a couple more in here. An act intended to deceive another. Actual fraud, puffing, constructive fraud, or negative fraud. Yeah, I know, that is amazing. It's going to be fun. I wish I could say. I don't think that I'm at liberty to say just yet, because they haven't really hammered all the details out with me. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes and then have them say, nah, we're not gonna have you come. So a lot of you are saying that this is actual fraud. So, and people ask what negative fraud is, constructive fraud. I really want you to understand what actual fraud is. Negative fraud isn't a thing. Constructive fraud has to do with agency violations, like if you're violating an agency relationship, okay? So that is something that I would say 110% That's really what you need to understand. Now, what is puffing? That's something that comes up on the test frequently. What is puffing? What is puffing? What is that? So that's exaggerating, okay? That's exaggerating, okay? Um, so basically, if you're saying, hey, this is the best, most amazing home that was ever constructed, someone asked, will they stream it live? No, I'm not going to live stream that because that is for one of the large real estate companies, their conference. So unless you're an agent at that company, uh, you won't see it. However, I might snip some things out and put it on my social media. Like you might see some reels from me. So that's why I'm saying follow me on Instagram. Okay, exaggerating. Yeah, perfect. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it grooving. Let's get a couple more in there. Right, movable objects that which are not considered real estate. Movable objects which are not considered real estate. Personal property, fixtures, real property, or land. Captain Ron said it's Remax. No, it's not. I will tell you that it's not Remax. I like Remax a lot. I was with the Remax office a long time ago. I like Remax, but it all depends on the local office. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What do we say here? What do we say on this one? Well, I think everyone knows what this is. If it's movable, it's chattel. It's personal property. Absolutely. Okay. So let me ask this question: what is a trade fixture? What is a trade fixture? What is that? What is a trade fixture? And can you give me an example of a trade fixture? Goes with the business owner. Yeah, it's a thing that looks like it might be a fixture, but it's actually part of the personal property of the business. So it's going to go with the business, like a salon chair, a dentist chair, things like that. Okay. So Captain Ron said a business tool that is fixed but goes with the person. Yeah, it goes with the business. I like that. That's actually a pretty good one. I like that. Not gonna lie. Okay. That was perfect. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at one more. A clause that allows a mortgage added at a later date to take priority over an existing mortgage. Acceleration clause, subordination clause, release clause, or open end clause. What say you? Some of you are saying a subordination clause. And you would be darn tootin' I like Fig Newtons. That is correct. Subordination clause. So how I always picture it is this. Do you remember how I said to you that the priority of liens is like a line in which who gets paid first if there's a foreclosure, right? It's a line. And that person's getting paid first because they're first priority. That person's getting paid second, so on and so forth. Well, subordination clause is going to be a situation where basically imagine that one of the people in line is wearing a shirt that says, hey, if you could read this, you could cut in front of me. You could cut in front of me. So basically what happens is they will subordinate to any new lien that is created later on. That's it. So that's the simplest way that I could explain it to you. So, any questions, concerns, burning desires, anything else that you would like? Okay. Nothing. Perfect. So listen, remember, don't forget, sign up for the real estate crash courses. We have more coming up. Okay. Math crash courses tomorrow, as is Florida. Okay. And then it's a situation where we have appraisals, okay? We have appraisals going on Saturday, the 28th, okay? So, what I want to tell you is this. Everyone, have a great, wonderful, fantastic rest of your day. I will see everyone real soon.